All right, so let's do a very brief idea about how a task and topic analysis is structured. So we'll just go, I'll mimic what you've got there, the sheet. You've got 2 pages and you've got, for a task analysis, you've got what we call these major steps. Now I need to qualify or explain what we mean by major steps, what makes a major step. And then over here we've got key points. And these key points will always be referenced to that particular major step. So each major step has got a number of key points. What I also need to say about this is that when we come to look at our key points, we will look in a moment at what we call safety, and we'll look at what we call success. And so with safety, whatever major step we have when we're looking at a task breakdown, it will always have an element of safety. We need to put that in there. There will also be a measure of things that you must watch for to ensure that the major step is successfully implemented. And then what we have also are little tricks that you'll put in there. Now you've got the 3 S's there. That's it. Secrets. So we call them secrets. That's kind of like a little mnemonic that you might remember, but you could call success quality. Things that you must put in the key points to make sure the major step is met with quality. When it comes to secrets, you're a trainer. There are things that you've learnt on the job that help the job, little tricks you've learned along the way, not shortcuts, not things that minimise quality, but things that make the job easier. We're not going to be in a situation as trainers where we're going to keep the secrets to ourselves and go, I took 20 years to discover this, you can discover it over 20 years. Share those little, and I'll show you what we mean by an example. There are things in the workplace that you can show your trainees and, hey, look, if you just do it this way, you'll save yourself an enormous lot of stress. So you share those things in the training. So they're key points. Now let's take a very simple activity that many of us, not all necessarily, but many of us will know something about. And we're going to train someone. We're going to train somebody in checking the engine oil of a car. Checking, not changing, not filling, just checking it. Have you all lifted the bonnet of your car and checked your oil level? You all know how to do that. Now you're going to train someone, hasn't? Well, we use your trainee. Some people have never lifted the bonnet of a car and don't even know where the dipstick is. Well, when they lift the bonnet, they'll find there's probably 3 or 4 dipsticks in there. We want the right one. Yeah, the colour-coded. Get the blue one. New cars, yeah, and pour the wrong oil in the wrong place. Yeah. So I want to just take you through checking, not changing. So our task, our skill training session is checking the engine oil level. Now, if that was your training session, you'd have a number of learning outcomes. You'd say at the end of this session, you're going to be able to list, explain, describe, and perform, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to go through the learning outcomes at this stage. We're doing a task analysis to make sure that when we put our skill session together, we've included all the relevant bits. In a moment, I'm going to get you to structure it so you deliver this in a logical, bite-sized fashion. First of all, what goes into our skill session? Now, major steps are defined like this. You think about the process of checking the oil and the things you've got to do. You would not say to the trainee, lift the bonnet, because that's not the first major step. A major step by definition is when you move on. Once you've done something, if I've lifted the bonnet, I then move on and lift out the dipstick. I'm now on another major step. But before I even lift the bonnet, these people have never, ever done it. And they may lift the bonnet and pull the dipstick out when the engine is still running. You may think not, but I've seen people do it, and the oil just goes right up in their face. So you've got an OH&S issue, as well as a quality issue. Don't assume that they know. Because when you check the transmission oil, the engine's got to be running when you're checking the automatic transmission. So you've got to be very careful that we don't just assume. But I've also seen people check the oil of their car when the car's on a hill. Now you might not think about that. So they go and check it and it's on a hill and the level of the oil is different when you're slopey to when you're flat. Don't assume they know that. So, having thought about that, let's start doing the major steps as we go. You're training these people. What's the first major step you're going to tell them? Yes. Park, switch off, level and secure the car. It can be a few bullet points, but that's your first step. You're going to park it, switch it off, and make sure it's level. So we could simply say, you might say level could be a key point to ensure quality. So the major step would be stop and secure car. Major step. Stop it and secure it. Now add your key points to the major step. First of all, look at safety. So you've said stop, but I want to qualify that. Motor off.
Yeah, motor off.
Safety. Handbrake. Handbrake. OH&S. Any other issues with OH&S?
Would you have to make sure the motor's cool?
Yes. Cool. Or beware of hot motor.
Yeah,
I may not even put that in at this stage. In fact, I might save that as a key point for when I've lifted the bonnet and I'm about to lift it. I may say be careful of the hot motor then. So it's fresh in their mind.
How long do you have to have it sit on a flat surface for before the oil generally goes to?
Good point. You might say for quality of measuring, you might say level ground.
Stand for 1 minute.
So level ground and stand for at least 1 minute. Now you've got issues of quality, so you could say quality, safety. Yeah, you've named the safety, you've named the quality. Close bonnet. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major steps. You wouldn't have too many. I can't emphasise enough, this is not a manuscript. This is just an analysis, succinct task analysis for you to deliver your skill session, and you're going to hear, when you see people delivering skill sessions, you can actually hear it come out in their training. Oh yeah, there's a secret. Oh yeah, there's a success. Oh yeah, there's a safety. You can hear the logic. You can actually know they've gone through a task analysis when they deliver their skill session. Because they get to a point here and they go, and I often find this, whenever I'm doing major steps, I always say, now remember, before you touch that, a safety one comes out. Then you talk quality, and then you talk secrets. I actually put them in that order. Don't give them all the safety for the whole task up front. The safeties come in at the relevant stages as you're doing it. A little later on, when we do structure of a skill session, you're going to find that what I always do, and you'll find that as adults, this is terrific. Whenever somebody is teaching you a skill, they should always demonstrate it at normal speed first, whatever the skill is. So you say to your trainee, stand over there and watch. You go through at normal speed. Then you go back step by step, giving your explanations along the way. When I go to, say, dancing lessons, they get up and they go, right, we're going to do the tango. I've never seen the tango in my life, right? Now the first thing you do is you go like this and you go whom, 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 whom. And I'm going, oh yeah, well, and then there's more, but we'll show you the other 7, 9, 10, 15 steps later. No. Turn the music on, because I haven't heard the music. I can't understand the relationship between music and body. Turn the music on, get up there and tango for me, and let me just take it in. And that is what you are going to be able to do after 12 weeks. Now I've got the big picture. Now take me through step by step by step, and you'll hear the task analysis coming out. And I'm amazed at how many people running skill sessions who do not demonstrate at normal speed. So you've got a context to then lock in the individual steps. Rightio, so we've got the major steps here, and now we're going to put in the key points. So one more before we go through the detail. Lifting the bonnet, safety, success, and secrets. Safety. I might whack that down there, I reckon. Let's put it down here, safety, hot engine. You only have to just put hot engine, and you can actually look at that and explain to the trainee, careful of this, put your elbow on there, blah, blah, blah. You just, even though you've stopped for a minute, it's still going to be hot. Be careful. Back to lifting the bonnet. Safety. Yes, those little locks, sometimes those little bars, you'll actually say to your trainee, now listen, when we lift this, have a look under here. Can you see all those holes? Those holes there are all about the manufacturing. That not all those holes are options. There's only one hole. You know what I would do? Instead of putting an explanation, I would actually put a diagram like that. And all that shows me is that underneath the bonnet there's a shape like that, which is peculiar because you get it in there and whop it down there and it can't come out. That's all I have to have is a diagram. And it tells me, that one diagram, to get the trainee under looking at the different holes and saying, this is where it belongs. If it doesn't go in there, you can easily knock it and it will fall on your head. So that's a safety issue. Pardon me? Some don't. You would know it as a task and topic analysis person if you're training them on those cars. That some of them have just got pneumatic struts, although you don't have a bar. But if you show them how to check the oil and they go and do it on someone else's car, they'll go up like that, let it go and think there's a strut under there. And it'll just come crashing down on their hands or fingers. Don't assume, because we're going from unconscious competence to people who are back down there. You happy with that? So safety, issues of success. Now here comes Rita's little button. So for success, to actually get the bonnet up, which is the success, you've got to talk about locators or what shall we call them? Yeah, hood lever. All I need to put down is hood lever and a question mark. Where is it? And you'll talk about issues of some are there and some are here, and I might even put a little note here for quality, watch manual latch at the front. You may have to talk about flicking that. Because if you just show them how to do it, they may not see your fingers flip it, they'll just see you lift it. And you just assume everybody knows. That is how we tackle the task analysis. Do your major steps first, then look at each of these issues. Safety, what has to be in there with respect to safety for each major step, what has to be there to ensure quality of that major step, and are there any little secrets? I'll give you an example of a secret. Before you lift the bonnet, here's a secret. It's not a secret really. Get hold of the rag first, so that when you lift the bonnet and grab the dipstick, you haven't whooped the dipstick out, then walking around, holding the dipstick, dripping oil, looking for the rag. It's such an obvious thing. Have it with you, so that as soon as you move it out, you can wipe it. Here's another little secret. Don't use lint rag with lint on it. Because if you wipe it with lint rag and you get all that cotton on it and put it back in your engine, you'll fill your engine up with lint and you'll clog up your filter. Don't do what some people do. They pull the dipstick out and then wipe it on the lawn or the grass or a leaf. Or your pants or your shirt or whatever the case may be. Is that pretty straightforward? Major steps, then look at your three: safety, success and secrets. Adults learn this by doing. Tell me and I'll forget. Show me and I might remember. Let me do and I'll surely learn. Whatever. I've modified the statement. So you need to do it.
So you would start off by demonstrating the whole activity, go park the car, get out, pull the bonnet.
Now Lorraine, that comes in structure. I only threw that in to start with. When I come and look at structure, I'm going to show you, once you've done your task analysis for a skill session, I'll show you how to actually structure that so it's logically presented. We'll do the same thing with the topic analysis. What I want to do now, I've shown you briefly what a task analysis is, showed you why you need to do a task analysis to go from unconscious competence to either conscious incompetence or conscious competence. If you're out for dinner with somebody and you don't really like them or they've annoyed you, just chuck in a few of these words. Are you unconsciously incompetent? Or are you moving through the conscious? Throw those in and they probably won't speak with you or they'll be intimidated to speak with you. Get those words rolling off your tongue. But know what they mean, otherwise you may be questioned and then shown how inept you really are. So we've shown oh, that was a suggestive comment, how inept you really are, or how inept you appear to be. Now, having justified why we should do a task analysis, we're going from here to either there or there, depending on where our training is. Let's do one. And I said I'm going to give you an item that you have used every day. No, not every day, but you use so constantly, you pick the item up and you would not think a minute about the steps. But I want you to train somebody who's never seen it. Never seen it. Punch hole or stapler? Punch hole or stapler. And there's a lot of things attached to this, you see. Lots of things. For instance, when you look at a... Don't just think that's so easy. I mean, you've got these things that come out from the side. You've got these things that go like that and go like that. You've got bottom comes off. There's a lot of stuff here. I've never used these before. All right, you want a stapler or a hole punch? Now, I want to say something before you guys take... No, I didn't bring it out. Before you take the stapler in, something I want to bring to your attention, you may or may not know. When you're teaching somebody about staplers, the anvil swivels. So you push the button in there and you swivel the anvil, and the question is, why does the anvil swivel, and what is the reason for having staples go under and not go under that way? So these are all reasons why it's there, and you are meant to use both sides of the anvil depending on the type of job you want to staple. Anybody know why you would staple it with the other way around? Let me give you an example. I've turned the anvil around, and when we staple it, we go like that, and the staples are facing out that way. So instead of you actually having to put a paper clip in there, you can easily remove them. So temporary staples, or if you're stacking them, you ever notice when you stack them and they go up like that? Well, if you do the reversed one, they'll stack flatter. So there are two reasons for reversing the anvil. Now you see, you're going to be training somebody, and somebody's going to say, why is the other thing there? You've got to know that. Don't assume they know. What do you want? Legal set. All right, you guys have chosen A.
Which one did you say?
Oh, I don't prefer stapler only because I don't even know how to
That's a paper sizer. It is a paper sizer.
Well, that could be a chance. So you want a stapler?
No, I don't. Who just read them?
Oh, for Christ's
Oh,
sake,
come on,
say
just
one.
make
Yes,
it simple.
stapler.
Yeah.
Are we looking at just how to use it or how to refill it?
Good. I'm going to give you an example of what you're going to do. You guys want a stapler or a...
Whatever one.
do you want a hole punch or a hole punch?
Oh, I'll get the one with a hole punch.
Black or red?
Black. It's a nice big fat one.
You could be unconscious.
Now, before you get underway, a couple of questions have been asked. Do I do a task analysis on how to use it and or maintain it? The answer is you will set the task by saying, we said here, check the engine oil. You will nominate the task. Use the stapler or use and maintain. It's your call. One of the best ways to do a task analysis is to get somebody to use it and you watch. Just get them to do it. Get them to pick up the paper, staple, watch what they do. Think about how you use it. Think about occupational health and safety. Think about the mechanisms that are in there. The person you're training has never seen this. Don't know what it is. Never used it. And I'd like you to use that sheet that you've got there and go through on your task and topic analysis. Give you 20 minutes to come up with it.